Hello and welcome to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast with Jeremiah Jennings. While still in his early 20s, Jeremiah already runs a successful six-figure lawn maintenance company. Listen in as he and his guests share the things that have brought them success that can help you in your business. As a young entrepreneur in the green industry, Jeremiah emphasizes the tips and tricks involved in running a lawn maintenance business while discussing the principles applying to all small businesses. If you're wanting to grow, become profitable and professional, you're in the right place. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings. We are coming to you from sunny Tampa Bay, Florida. We're at the Green Industry Hype House 2022. It's an honor to be here, and I am joined with some very, very special guests in John Pajak and Caleb Auman from the Kid Contractor Podcast. And I am super excited to have them on. How y'all doing today, guys?
Good, man. What's up? How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying this weather right here. Sitting poolside in the shade because it's too hot in the sun. We've been seeing all these stories from everybody's getting, like a foot of snow right now?
Yeah. My wife sent me a picture, and I'm like, yeah, that's a foot. I'm not home.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I have no interest to be there. Caleb's lucky. He don't have to do any snow plowing anymore. So
Nope. John's in North Indiana. I'm Southeast Ohio, and I haven't seen what we have got. Well, actually, the radar's looking like we got a bunch of rain. So that's all rain. Just bunch and bunch of rain. It's supposed to turn into ice at some point. So that's going to be pretty ugly. We'll see what that looks like. But yeah, we don't do any snow or ice management or anything. So my guys are just happened the way things worked out here. My guys are laid off for a couple weeks, so they're just kind of catching their breath here before we start up mid-February here and get back to hammering. So we're just kind of just
How long
in
did
a
you
holding
do snow
pattern.
in your business?
That was the problem. We were never fully immersed in snow. We always I always just had my toe in it, and I have never owned a plow on any of my stuff.
Really, you never owned a plow?
Never owned a plow. So I was either trying to always coordinate a subcontractor to get my plow accounts done, which was a nightmare and a disaster generally, and then we go around and do detail work and salting and all that stuff behind them. That's back when I was trying to do it under my company, my first venture. And it just had my toe in, and it wasn't enough. I should have had a plow and a truck so I could handle things myself and not worry about a sub getting to it on his time after he handled his stuff. And I burned a lot of relationships, with people I committed to do snow that we didn't get there till the very tail end of the storm, and it just.
You think if you would have had a plow, you would have stuck with it?
I don't know, man. I really don't know what would have happened. It probably would have been the same trajectory. I just would have got burnt out and sick of it, and you underpriced it and all that, going through it, or in my first venture. But it's hard to say what trajectory things are. But I think ultimately, because I started driving, even when I was rebuilding our second company, rebuilding the company, whatever you want to call it. I was driving for a guy through the winter, and I did that 2 winters, and I just dreaded the phone call.
Yeah.
The weather's starting to turn crappy, and you're just always waiting on that call to, all right, come on in. And I hated that. I got enough stress and problems, and I don't need to be just waiting on a phone call like that. I just don't like being on call 24 hours a day for 5 months.
First-hand example of that is Sean and Savannah had to leave their vacation to go back and do. And they have a great snow business up there in Ohio, but that's huge. Monumental storm is what they're saying.
Yeah, they're up in Canton, which is northeast Ohio, and they're supposedly going to get a bunch of snow up there. And you're just married to it, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, I know guys that bass fish all summer, and as soon as first frost, the trucks are on idling, ready to go. They can't wait.
Yeah.
And it's just what you're into. Not for me.
I mean, that's why we stopped doing it a while ago, just because I got tired of being on call 24/7. It's not fun. The deciding factor for me was every time there was an event of importance, like my daughter's birthday or Christmas or any of the holidays that happened during the cold season, it would snow and there'd be a huge storm. And then during the times when it was like, okay, let it snow, it was either feast or famine.
Mm-hmm.
And just being on call 24/7 is not ideal. I did it for probably 15 years or so. I can't even remember anymore. But you can generate quite a bit of money doing it,
especially
if you're prepared properly.
Yeah.
But, it's labor intensive, and there's a lot of hours that need to be put in. You never know. It's very difficult to tell when you have an event how long it's actually going to take you to clear it, because there's so many variables. So it's not for everybody. The guys that live for it, they're dialed in. That's how they make. That's what they make their money on. There's 2 places out in New York and Jersey. New Jersey, I know some guys. In Chicago too. There's 3 companies that I know. They don't do anything else except for snow and ice management. So they
just do that. Yeah,
that's all they do.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They don't offer services. They're setting up their contracts during the summer, spring and summer.
Preparing.
So like right after the season ends, they're already working on projecting their contracts and numbers and getting all their sales done early. So that's how they are wired. They don't wait till the last minute. They are like, this is their full-time job, and that's it.
Yeah, and you can have it.
Yeah.
I just, like I said,
I have no interest.
actual plowing is fun. Actual
Yeah.
plowing of driving a truck or a skid steer, and it's fun. It's just hour 12 plus. Like,
I was just going to say, like, yeah, I agree with you to a point, especially when you're younger. But man, when you hit 14 hours in the truck and the only thing you got out for was just to take care of yourself in a sense,
Yeah.
And there's very few companies that have the manpower to schedule the labor of like your 12-hour shifts and all that kind of stuff. It's just not like
it's not feasible most of the time because
nobody's got the labor to do it.
You got when it seems, why is it every time I get on the podcast with you guys they always talk about snow? I'm in Florida right now.
Yeah,
it snowed a foot. And I don't want to think about it.
It's the juxtaposition of where we're at versus what it's doing somewhere else, right?
Well, moving on to further topics, you get to go see your best friend tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go see. Yeah, we're longtime pals. Jordan Peterson, my pal Jordan Peterson here. And if you're not familiar with Jordan Peterson, just look him up on YouTube and along with about any.
It is Caleb's best friend.
Any topic, yeah. Jordan doesn't know it, but we're like best buddies forever, BFFs. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see that. I don't know what his topic is.
What are you looking to get out of it? Just hear him speak?
Just hear him speak. I mean, anytime he speaks on about any subject, I'm pretty much enthralled with it. So, but he's probably one of the most impressive modern day thinkers I think of the time. That's made it mainstream, and things he's done for people. Just helping people through and He's helped me be a better communicator and understand how to. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, buddy.
Did he get the pool hot?
Looks like we're back in shape here. So
your wife told me to make sure he doesn't leave until
you
it's
need to
hot because she's going to kill me. She said she will.
He stuck his hand in and gave me a thumbs up.
You want to go check?
I'm gonna take that as a.
Well, let me go check because my butt's on the line. I'm going to be right back.
You are on the line.
Yeah, I'll let her slaughter John on if that's wrong. But no. So he's just he's a I don't know if philosopher is the right thing, but
profound communicator.
He really is, and he just thinks things through and just has just deep, meaningful thought about any topic. And he's a Canadian guy. And could you hit my ears up just a little bit? They seem like really low for some reason. There. Oh, thank you. That's way better. It's crazy how that makes a difference.
Makes all the difference.
If you get that. I don't know why that matters.
I don't understand how some people do podcasts and don't even wear headsets. They just talk into the mic without anything.
Yeah.
I need it.
Well, I guess if you didn't have headsets on totally, you could still hear, your own volume level.
I guess so, that makes sense.
But I was feeling muffled, so I felt like I needed to talk louder or whatever. So I don't know. There's something to that.
The hot tub's still cold. You just signed me up for a bruising.
Well, that's it won't last too long. She doesn't have a lot of energy.
She's tired after a while. Okay.
Yeah, she can only swing a big bat for so long. So. So anyway, just really excited. And what am I looking to get out of it? I think just the experience of somebody I've looked up to for a couple of years now, I think. And like I said, just YouTube Jordan Peterson and see what comes up. But he says really common sense stuff. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but he has a message that I think most folks need to hear ultimately.
If I was 25% had 25% of the articulation that he had with his mannerisms and just the speaking, it's just amazing how I'd be cool then.
Yeah, right.
Well, you were saying he's a big communicator, and I feel like that's something that you can take into your business, into entrepreneurship, and talk about. Communication is key in everything.
in life.
And especially if you're going to be running a business, you're dealing with clients every day. Like selling jobs, that's a huge thing. So even if you can go listen to him and learn. Like you're not just going to hang out with or not literally hang out, but see a guy that you've looked up to. You're going to like learn and get some brain food for that communication and you always talk. You're the one that always talks about. Man, I'm so excited to have you on the show because I quote you on this show probably more than anybody else. Anybody that listens to this show regularly knows I always talk about everything. Some quotes you bring up here and there, and you always talk about the books you read, and it's you always talk about the communication. Which one? You have a communication book that you like.
One that it's an old-time classic. Dale Carnegie was How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just mandatory reading, in my opinion. I think every high schooler should read it. But what that book really distills down to is just like talking, treat others how they want to be treated, not necessarily how you want to be treated, right? And so, like, the book has got like old timey references because it was written, 80 years ago. Yeah, I don't even know, a long time ago.
I think it's the copyright's 32.
For real, yeah, it's old, and it's like if you'd like a copy of it, send a nickel to wherever that doesn't exist anymore. But it really is just about like if you're trying to understand your clients and they have like a little vegetable garden, talk to them about their vegetable or figure out what they want to talk about and what their be it model trains or their golf habit or their kids or grandkids, whatever, talk about that with them and build rapport that way. And you got to be honest and genuine about it. You can't just be blowing smoke. Yeah. But, find out what they want to talk about and let them talk about it. And that will build, that's part of the building friends thing there. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I believe it. John, do you have anything to second that with?
Read that book. It's a very good one. But, yeah, treating people, I still think I treat people the way I want to be treated, but similar to what Caleb was saying, when you find that little interest that they have, that hobby or whatever it might be, it opens up the doors, especially if you're running a small business. They'll look to you and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to go to them because I trust them.
Yeah.
Even though the market might be saturated with a million.
Just because you discuss things.
If you discuss things with somebody, there's one guy in particular that we have several customers that I talk to personally, but like whenever we get to the property, they are always trying to show off their vehicles, and I'm interested in vehicles too. So I'm like, yeah, let's take a look at that. I have a genuine interest in it, but at the same time, even if I did not, I would still take the time to take a look at it because I see it's important to them. And it's not like I'm trying to weasel, be scummy or anything. It's like a sincere.
You're actually
It's sincere. I have sympathy, empathy. I have those characteristics. I always want people to feel good, especially when they're around me. And
it's a desire to build a good relationship with people, right? And so you talk to them about what they want to talk about, and that's how you build a good relationship. So I genuinely and earnestly want to have a good relationship with whoever, so I'm going to let them talk about what they like to talk about.
Right. And then on the flip side of it, when you build that rapport and you build that trust, if you're going to sell them something, or even if you just mention like, oh yeah, we could clean your pool or whatever your scope of work is, you could pretty much upsell them without even upselling them.
Yeah.
Which is nice,
Absolutely.
Just say, I'm thinking about doing this or whatever. And then you could, especially with those clients, you could find out if there's really a true market for it. I know that's like it kind of diverts from what we were talking about, but at the same time, all these little things can blossom into other opportunities.
Absolutely. Caleb, while I got you on here, I actually want to ask you a specific question. This is one that somebody asked me on Instagram, and I wanted to. Well, I want to take this time and while I'm with these y'all that have had businesses for 10, 15 plus years, you have a lot of wealth under your belt, a lot of knowledge. And John, you can give some input on this as well. But the question is, if you could start from scratch, knowing what you know now, what would your blueprint for success be? And I know you've gone through. There's Paul Jameson.
Paul Jameson in the house,
coming back from the beach, but he looks like he enjoyed.
He's in better spirits than he was this morning.
Yeah, got some good vitamin D. But,
exactly.
Start from scratch, knowing what you know now. What would your blueprint for success be?
I I think, that's such a.
That's a broad question.
It's very broad, and just how many points can I, how many points? But like, I think the big thing is just going into it. Having an understanding of how to sell and how to build relationships. Right. That's a big thing. Knowing how to do some of the work you're doing, but then also like having some financial knowledge. Right. Knowing. How are we going to make this a profitable venture? What are we reading? What are we doing to make whatever we're venturing into a profitable venture? Mm-hmm. Trying to go into it without a tremendous load of debt or crushing debt. And if we're going to quit a full-time job at the moment, to start a passion or a new venture, like try to bank up as much money as you can prior to that so things are less stressful. Be sure to talk to your family and friends, actually your family, really, that's all. About like, hey, we're gonna make a run at this. I'm gonna pretty much kill myself for the next 12 months to get this thing off the ground, and I will always take Sundays for the family, but I'm probably gonna work a lot of Saturdays moving forward. And just communicating with your spouse and your children and having them understand like, hey, what we're doing and why we're doing this. We're doing this. We're gonna work like dogs for the next year so that moving forward we can be more flexible with our time and. Doing that kind of stuff, and then just rapidly pivoting the business as fast as we possibly can to make it a venture that makes sense and is profitable, and buying the equipment and tools and whatever that keeps us on that profitable and productive journey, and go from there. So, there'd probably be a really good. Probably a good book or email chain or something to put out would be like, just the top 10 things like you need to do. John, what would you say, man?
Well, it's kind of funny you bring that up because Paul and I are going to be launching the technical guide to running a successful lawn care business soon. But it's like you said, it's kind of like a million points of light at one point in time because there's so many things you could try to focus on. With all of our experience, you could look at what you would do, but if I were to truly boil it down again, was one, know your numbers, which is hard to do when you don't have any experience, but
right.
you could get in the ballpark.
Right. And
always, even now, like I know my numbers, but things change. It's not a static thing. It will always change, especially as your business grows.
Yeah.
So comprehending how to figure those things out is going to be incredibly important for all of your expenses. But second, find out, okay, if you really want to do what you're going to do, find out if there's a market for it. Everybody says, oh yeah, I could always do this and there's always a niche market, but in some places it may not be as important and people may not pay for that service even though you want to do it.
Yeah.
So you would actually become a niche market, but then it's like, okay, if you do that, you may not have the volume going forward. So it's always important to know, like, okay, is there a demand for this? Let's figure that out if I want to pursue this passion, or maybe I might have to move. And I know that seems a bit extreme, but if you want to plow snow, you can't do that from Alabama.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't make a career out of that.
You can't make a career out of it.
No way.
Even, when you go up further north, sometimes it's not dependable. If you want to go plow snow forever, go to Minnesota or the upper or the UP of Michigan. But anyway, know your numbers. Make sure there's a market for what you want to do. And then assemble a team as quickly as possible. There's that analogy. You have that saying where the business owner wears all the hats at first. Try to pass many of those hats off as you can, as quickly as you can. Even if it's a failure, just replace that person again. I know that sounds harsh, but that's kind of the way you have to approach it because you can't. If you find out somebody's not fit for that job, you as the owner needs to identify that and then put them in a different position and get the right people in line. That alone, I know from my personal experience, sometimes it's easy, and there's a lot of times it's a big challenge to find the right people to work within your organization.
Find the right fit for your company as well.
Right.
Yeah. Culture, the whole bit.
Exactly. Be slow to hire, quick to fire. that's
that's another one. It's a big deal. Something else I'd add to my blueprint would be building your brand and your network as fast as you can too. So trying to get to know as many people that are decision makers in your community, and get in front of them, build your brand, clean, simple branding that can be recognized at 45 miles an hour driving down the road,
FedEx.
and just right, and just building your brand and building your network of people that are going to refer you for the kind of work that you want, and then the people you find that repeatedly refer you for the kind of work you want, bend over backwards for them when they need something, and give them the best kickbacks that make the most sense for them and their position in life, let's say, because I've got very wealthy clients that refer us for some really nice stuff, and it's like a gift card to even this local nicest steakhouse doesn't really mean a lot to them, but if you can make something for them that they like, a Swedish fire log or something that they can put in their fire pit out there and start a fire real easy, or you name whatever the thing is that they may not, or just throw in a bunch of annuals out front, like, hey, Mr. Herfin earlier, appreciate the referrals. We threw in some extra begonias here out front, just for no charge. Just want you to know we appreciate all you do for us.
Yeah.
And just any way you can return value to them, whatever, or make a donation to some charity in their name. Just anything like that.
And I think to second that is go back to something you just said and kind of skimmed over, but I think it's a big point, is find the right client for what the services you want to be doing, and that find somebody who can bring you the business you want to be doing. Because like in a lawn care case, in my case personally, everybody thinks a realtor is a good connection to have. In my opinion, I don't really want a realtor, because in my opinion, realtors are going to give me one-off jobs that they need to just cleaned up right before they make a sale, something like that.
As cheap as possible.
As cheap as possible. So to me, that's not the client that I want. Now, they might know a lot of people, but I know the work she's going to be giving me is not the she or he is going to be giving me is not the work that I want.
Yep.
So make a connection with someone who is going to, like you're saying, refer you to the person you want to the kind of work you want to be doing.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you can get people to throw your work all day, and it's just not
quality.
Not the work you're looking for.
And then if you do that for 6 months or a year, then you're going to offend them when you're like, okay, I don't really need your, like, how do you go to them and say, I don't need your stuff anymore? Like,
well, when it comes to that, if that's what you got to do to get your feet off the ground, is once you reach that point where you're that's not your style of work anymore, and you go to them and say, hey, we're beginning to phase out of this style of work.
Yeah.
Here is so-and-so's number. This is a great start. This is great for them. I would recommend you call them for this kind of stuff. Keep us in mind for XYZ wherever we're going, or whatever. Or, we're looking for, existing homeowners that, aren't, so budget conscious and stuff like that. And you say it with respect and grace. And you say, here, call Bob. He's going to take awesome care of you.
Give the customer options.
And pass value on to them.
It's exactly what we did when we were transitioning from mowing, and we were doing applications and mowing, to essentially just applications. So we basically did the same thing, and we had like three referrals to just pass out. We're like, look, if they were in this town, we would refer this guy. If it was, we had their back. We had them covered. We still, like, there's some people that still get grandfathered in just because they've been with us forever. But for the most part, it's exactly, that was the tactic we used to transition.
Do you want to keep the cash flowing this winter? Head over to L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com and check out all of Brian Fullerton's new courses and powerful resources to get you cashing in on that white gold through plowing snow. The snow plowing training course is easy to understand, and you'll learn what it takes to do the job effectively and how to bid, price, and estimate snow plowing for both residential and commercial properties. L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com has 3 new resources to take the hassle and guesswork out of securing your snow removal jobs. Plus, there's eye-catching marketing materials that can help you secure new clients quickly. Ready to crush the snow game this year? Visit L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com or use the link in the podcast description.
Sure. On back to the blueprint discussion here. This is actually a topic we covered during the live stream last night. It was, if you missed it, go check it out. It was on Brian's and Caleb. Y'all were live too, right?
Yeah, we were live too.
So it's on both y'all's Instagram channels. But it was a topic that I didn't really get to give much input on because we just talked about it and moved on. But we were talking about route density, and that's something. What is your take on route density, even in your business? Because like for a lawn care and landscaping company, we obviously want to be within 5 to 10, 15 miles. I mean, within 30 minutes generally. You want your whole route within 30 minutes. As a hardscaper doing bigger projects, how does your route density come into play? Like, and how far are you willing to go for some jobs?
The on the hardscape end of things that's a primary portion of our business. We stay within Fairfield County, generally at the most a 30, 40-minute drive at the most. And most of our work anymore, honestly, or frankly, is within 10 minutes of our shop, which is awesome, which we try to stay centrally located in that regard. Our stormwater commercial work division, we travel all over the state of Ohio for that. We travel 2 hours for that, 2.5 hours, whatever. We price that travel time into the work though, and we price that into the work, and if we get the job, cool. If not, that's okay. Yeah. Now that work, everybody for the most part is traveling, so that pricing is pretty much in everybody's proposals or whatever. But, on the hardscape end, no, we need to stay pretty local, because the farther we get and the more travel time we put into the job for that residential client, they begin to lose value of the project. Yeah. When we could be giving them more value for, the amount for what they're actually getting built. Say we've got to drive an extra half hour a day or whatever.
Clock all that time in.
And so what they wanted for $45,000 might really be only about $37,000 worth of value, because they're paying for almost $7,000 worth of travel.
Yeah,
and that sounds crazy, but you're running 3 guys in the truck. You
have to make money.
It's got to be time that's recovered, and it's billable time that we could do a local closer job. Now I'm sure there'll be a time where it's like there's not as much work, and there's not we may have to change our perspective a little bit at some point.
But I think what you just talked about is key, that if you do start traveling, you just make sure and you don't start losing money on that travel time.
You have to. Mm-hmm. You can't drive an hour and a half to a job and not
recuperate,
not recognize that that's somebody's paying for that. We try to have our guys meet on site as much as possible. So a foreman will grab a truck and come in, but we try to have our guys meet on site. And that way they're getting their 40 hours, but it's on that job site. Yeah. It's not 30 hours on that job site and 10 hours a week of drive time per guy.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do. It's not a blessing. It's a strategy.
Yeah, I guess I could say it. But in our industry, there's no way to do it. There's no way to do that.
Right. Well, so the necessity of that is you have to be route dense. Yeah. You just have to be, or your margins, you're just going to watch your margins slip away.
And I think tight routes go hand in hand with being involved in your local community. Mm-hmm. That's when y'all were discussing that last night about in the kids' schools, putting up banners on the sports fields, being in the local parades, whatever. Getting your name out there in your community is going to help you build that route density.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having a well search engine optimized website and being clear on your website and whatever, you only service XYZ neighborhoods. Yeah. I think Naylor Taliaferro, Lawn Care Rookie, he's got his voicemail says specifically, like, hey, we service these 4 neighborhoods, and that's it. And, like, that weeds people out right there. Yeah. Like, you're not having to return a phone call. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't. Right there, that weeds people out. I'm sure people still, we're right next door, can't you? And Rookie's pretty strict on that as far as I know, which is great.
But you have to be, because if you're never going to set up a good service area if you're not strict about it.
If you break those rules.
And the whole blueprint thing is what we're discussing. That is a blueprint in your business for in my opinion, is when you start out, that's when you need to be building your route density, not 3 years down the road. Because in my case, I started out bad. I started out going 45, 50 minutes apart. And now
I did that for years.
And now I'm having to weed back down to that 15, 20-minute area. So don't start. If you have a yard that's 30 minutes away and somebody calls you and it's 5 more minutes away, say no immediately.
You have to.
Because if you take that one, you're going to take the next 5 minutes. And then the next 5 minutes. And then you're going to be 45 minutes away.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. That's right.
And I know, it's stuff that everybody talks about all the time, but it's just so – I've heard it over and over and over again. And I just want to get it out there to anybody who's starting out there. Don't start that way.
Sometimes it's a little difficult for guys to grasp that.
But it's scary. It's scary too, because you're like, well, am I going to have enough work in my area?
Right. You're coming into the industry and you're like, okay, we got to get work. We got to get work. When we had our mowing routes established originally, we were kind of like, oh yeah, we'll go here because this town is it's right on the border, and it's just like you had just said, where we're right next door. but it's actually in a different town.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When we first started, I think we were in 8 different towns.
Yeah.
We had to
8 different business licenses.
Exactly. We had 8
Yeah.
different business licenses just for the contractors' licenses. And it was like, man, we only have like 1 in this town. Why are we doing this? Well, because if we don't, we get it's like a $2,000 fine.
Yeah.
And then it's like at one point, it's just like enough's enough.
But if you got 1 yard that generates you $1,000 a year, and you pay $100 business license fee, then what? You got 10% of your profit wrapped up in one business license,
which doesn't make any sense. And also, you have to, with your insurance riders and everything, we'd have to have a specific rider on every thing to include that town, and it just gets to be excessive. But after 2 years doing that, it's like you just take that area and just shrink it down and shrink it down and shrink it down. I'm sorry, Miss Johnson, I know you're a wonderful person and everything's great, and those apple pies that you make are great. I love them, but we got another guy that's going to take you over.
Yeah.
And you got to condense on that. So yeah, even if you're trying to go backwards, for anybody that's just starting out, sometimes you have to take work just to take it, but if it's going to become a routine thing, really just target one area.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to say yes to everything, because one of the most powerful words you could learn to use is no. It's hard. It's hard to say no sometimes, but once you get it, and
the hardest
you
2
get
letters to
comfortable.
say.
Yeah, once you get comfortable with it, it becomes much easier.
Yeah, that's the turning work down or turning down opportunities that aren't really the right opportunities. Paper King up in Canada says you make the most money on the work you turn down.
Yeah.
And that's always sat with me funny, and it's true, I believe.
We had this kind of goes back to snow too, but we had an HOA. It was a huge HOA that we used to take care of, but it was 45 minutes away, but the money was good. Mm-hmm. So what I ended up doing was, instead, kind of like what Caleb did, of having guys meet on site, instead of towing the trailers and everything over there, I got a storage unit that was literally right across the street from it. So all the guys had to do was get in a truck, drive there with no equipment, open up the storage unit, and they could ride the mowers and everything over there. And that was key during the wintertime, because they could take the snow throwers, they could take the buggy and everything, they could just drive from the storage unit. There was no trailers involved.
Transport at all.
So we didn't have to transport everything. It cut down on the overhead for that particular work. But when they decided to restructure and go with a different company, I was like, well, no skin off my back. I didn't buy a place over here. It's like, hey, here we go, the storage unit, we're handing it back over.
Yeah.
So it was that's just another option, just in case you get stuck in that trap. Mm-hmm. You might want to look at.
That's unique. I've never heard of that one.
Instead of being centralized, you can be kind of diverse and have, like, you know what, even though we're located in this town, the more profitable work's over here. So instead of working from home or having your home as home base, you've put the work, you put your satellite closer to where you're going to be working. Mm-hmm. And that I always tell people, I say, if you just because you live somewhere doesn't mean you have to work there. So it might be beneficial for some people to go, they might drive the 45 minutes out, but if their satellite's out there and they could pick up the trailer, the equipment, whatever it is, and then leave from there and have all the guys meet them there, it's going to cut down on your overhead expenses for your
I would say that's
labor.
last case scenario though. I wouldn't want to do that.
Right, but what I'm saying, there's a few areas out by us where guys live in a certain area and they feel like they have to work there, and they're scraping by. They're dealing with those the not ideal customers where everything you do, they're like, is there a way to knock a couple bucks off? Can't you do this real quick for extra? Can you cut that bush? You're here already. It's like, the difficult clients, they're more customers than clients.
That's a tough thing. What would you say about that? If you were in an area that you don't think you could generate work, would you just move? I mean, would you try to find a different area to live in? I mean, or would you make that build a shop satellite and just drive to that every day? That's a tough. I've never really put a lot of thought into it.
I got a friend back home that they run a long-term family company in pretty much in Columbus,
There
Ohio.
goes the concrete.
There we go. Oh my gosh.
That's
It's only
2.5
4
hours late.
Yeah, that's all. But they run kind of that concept. They work just almost downtown Columbus, Ohio, and they live down by me, which is about 30 minutes southeast of Columbus. And their location is just 10 minutes from where they work, primarily in this one neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. And that's what they do. They didn't want to build a lawn route down by us, but again, their business was established there for 50-some years. So yeah, I mean, I think ultimately you've got to, depending on you've just got to be willing to either figure out what sacrifice you're willing to make. I mean, I know folks that live down in the hills, down by us at work in Columbus, and they make that commute every day. It just is what it is, and that's part of the price they pay to live down in God's country, and out of the big city. I think it's part of just what are you willing to do what you want to do, and then how serious are you going to be about it. Now, I definitely would be in favor of and it's the philosophy we have when we build our shop, or we're building our shop, is and I went back and forth with this on Brit, but this is something I picked up from Todd Pugh and Enviroscapes, was you're better off to spend more money for your shop facility closer to town or your work area, because you're going to pay guys. You're going to make up the difference in that mortgage. If you buy cheap residential country land, you're going to pay those guys to drive in town, in a company truck, and you're going to pay that extra couple $1,000 a month that you would in mortgage. You're just going to pay it windshield time, which builds nothing.
Right.
Builds you no net
equity.
worth, no equity, nothing. And so we held out for a long time to find the right piece of property that's relatively close to the to the highway and to our work area, and we stuck it out and finally found something.
And you're getting a shop in 2022, aren't you?
We're building a shop with permits and everything should clear here in the next week or so, and we're putting sticks in the air as soon as those suckers clear. So that's a whole big venture
Academy,
itself. And
social media hub.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it'll be the home of the Hardscape Academy, which will be an in-person training school, and then also the offices will have podcast room and YouTube room, and then of course our offices and conference room that's available for rent. And
There'll be a helipad on the roof.
Helipad, not on the roof, but out in the yard, out in the field.
Yard.
We are going to have a helipad out there. It's just for fun. We joke it's for Brian Fullerton's helicopter, but when he comes visit. But that's going to be something. It's going to be a really neat place. The helipad, we're literally going to put it in, but it's just for. It's just to say there's a helipad here.
Hey, maybe you could go to the county and be like, "Look, we added this for you. This is some."
I know, right? It's
don't forget the dock for the yacht, because that's
Yeah, we're not exactly. We're gonna have to dredge out a slip to get that thing up in there. Yeah, so that we're a little ways out from that.
But see, you need the helipad so that you could transport the yacht into the dry dock.
Well, that way we can get the passengers,
because it's going to be totally landlocked. But hey, you got one.
Yeah, when Bezos comes to visit, he can just park his yacht in Buckeye Lake.
Get yourself a cargo bob so you could carry big, heavy stuff to and from the.
Or when Peterson flies in on his helicopter.
Yeah, when Peterson visits, that kind of stuff to hang out. So, but yeah, so I mean that was a guiding light for me in the because Britt kept finding this land that was out farther than I wanted to do, and she was like. It was driving her crazy. I was like, nah, it's too far out. It's not commercially zoned, all that. It's like, no, we need to stay the course, and the right piece is out there. Whether or not we can afford it's another thing. But
you think the patience was worth it?
Absolutely, 1,000%. Yeah, without a doubt. Now, the only other caveat to that is being as we're building the facility, which is cool because you can custom build it to your liking. We had to do a zoning change, and we had to do all this other stuff. There is merit for finding a building that's maybe a little more than what you want to spend. Already built, already ready to go, and you don't have to deal with all the crap that we're going to deal with here for the next 12 months building a facility. Because we're going to GC it and handle a lot of it ourselves. There is something to say for just turnkey building where you just walk in, move your stuff in, and you're there.
Just like flipping houses. It's for some people, and for some people it's not. Some people want to move into a house that needs everything, and some people want to move into a house that they flip a light switch and everything's painted, and they can just move their stuff in and be done.
Yep.
And so it's a small on a smaller level. It's a comparison there, but
it's you
get to customize it though. That's the thing. I mean, I think that's a lot of benefit to it.
Yeah, without a doubt, and everything can be new, and we're set up for the next 10, 20, 30
The
years.
boss is going to get her
definitely.
heated floors.
Yeah, the office is going to have heated radiant flooring, and then in one of the work bay areas, we're going to run radiant flooring through that. So it'll be nice to. We're going to go from having like the worst winter working conditions for equipment because we're just out on a gravel lot, changing oil in your back in a wintertime in gravel. To now we're going to have like a heated floor facility to change oil and do all that and get stuff fixed in the winter that we have been neglecting for my whole career.
Yeah.
And it like
getting that international painted.
That kind of stuff, right? Get it in somewhere warm. Now we actually paint it, and nobody's like getting frostbite trying to get things done. So, yeah,
I'm excited. I think I'm excited to see the process.
It's one of those things I wish, as cool as the process will be, it was supposed to start in the fall. The building process and all that, and then like the closing on the land got delayed, and then builder got delayed, and just all this other stuff, And so this all is supposed to take place during the winter, where we're going to get back, and it's going to be mid-February, and we're starting, and we're getting into busy season.
Yeah, and
that's like the worst time. So part of me wishes I could just flip a switch, or if I had the budget to just pay a contractor to finish it out 100%. But that's not reality.
Yeah,
we're just going to have to. We're going to have to put some equity into it. And
it might age you 10 or 15 years, but it'll be worth it.
It might. We'll see. I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting process. So, yeah, you can check that out on all our social stuff. We'll be sharing all that world away and seeing how it goes. So
I'm excited to see where it goes. Well, John, what would you leave us with? If you had one piece of business advice, what would you leave us with?
Go listen to some Jordan Peterson.
There you go. That's not bad. Yeah, just type in Jordan Peterson communication in YouTube, and that'll bring up some stuff that'd help you for sure.
Really, I would say try to absorb as much as you can. It's kind of a double-edged sword because you want to stay focused, get things done, but you can never learn enough. Just be leery or be cautious about where you get your information from. Yeah. That's probably the best advice I could have. There's some great resources out there. There's some great people out there that do good things, but they're not as popular as some other people are that give not such good advice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just kind of, if something doesn't feel right, don't go with it.
To piggyback on that, my final question for you, this is what we always do on the show to end the shows, is you're going to say Caleb's going to get lucky. He gets to think about his for a minute. I'm going to hit you with it right off the bat, though. What is your why?
My why?
Yeah.
Because my family. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm like a hermit crab in a sense. Mm-hmm. I have changed industries several times. I always end up coming back to the green industry for some reason. I think that's God's path for me, is just to lead me down and then to help people achieve what they want to do. But really my why is it's God and family. That's just to satisfy them is what makes me the happiest. Like this house is wonderful. You could give this to me, but if I didn't have my family with me, I would not want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's good. Everybody's answer is different. That's why that's why I like that question, because it could be the same answer, but it means something different to everyone. Somebody can say their family, but to you it means something different than to somebody else.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
The why?
Yeah.
The why? Yeah.
See, there's a lot of thought.
So it's a hard one, man.
I had that like lined out, and then
he threw it at me, so you give a couple seconds to think
know,
about
right?
it.
And I still got nothing. But no, I think my why is I really enjoy just building a business, building my own little empire.
Yeah.
And, and of course, the purpose of that is, family and trying to have something secure and stable for, our well-being, our longevity and our hopefully flexibility of time that we can go do things and make up. We still got to work probably the same amount, but, we can take a couple days and go do something. Maybe I work a little later, something make up for it, or maybe, fortunately, cover for it somehow. But the big thing I think is just I really like being able to be flexible with my time. But I've really enjoyed building a company now that, especially over the years now, where things are getting better and better, where I can start really delegating more and more things to different people. We've got a media guy now that gets our editing done for us, and it's not killing me there. And we just keep adding people to slowly build this little empire of ours. Mm-hmm. And so it's really all just for family ultimately, and just stability and do what you love. You never work a day in your life. That kind of cliche. But I mean, really, it's like it's just I don't know what else I'd do other than farming and ranching. That's like my other thing. Like I'd rather do that, frankly, but it's just not in the cards. So building our little empire. That's our thing, man.
I like it. There's nothing. Each answer is just as good as the other one, and everyone's
There's no wrong answer when it comes to that.
But I've learned a lot from people's why, because it gives perspective on the time that you put in, the time that you're about to spend in the shop and the building and the money that's about to go into it. Why do you do all that? Why would you do that? Why would you not just go buy a turnkey place? Because you get to customize. You get to build this for your family. And in 2 or 3, 4, 10 years, kids are going to be able to go hang out there and bring friends over and have a good time. And like you're saying, you build your little empire. And I like it. I just love hearing everybody's answer. That's pretty much why I ask it.
Well, what's your why then, Jeremiah?
Nobody's ever turned it back on me.
I was just going to say this. I'm like, what? Damn Caleb getting the thing.
Nobody's ever turned it back on me. So I actually have thought about this a lot. My why for my landscaping business is to, one, provide for my family, obviously, and I want to create financial freedom for myself and my family, because that's not something that I grew up in. So I want to change my heirs to come, I guess, whatever.
You're going to change your family tree.
Yeah, family tree. I wanted to set up something better for them. Not that what I grew up in was bad by any means. We always had everything we needed.
Right.
But I want a different lifestyle. So work extremely hard in that aspect, and that's probably my why for that. Why for the podcast? Why do I do this? Because I want to help anyone out there who's in the entrepreneurship journey and doesn't know where to go. And they're just the basic things that I wish I would have known 4 years ago when I started out. Because as much as we promote, as much as we go, there's still people that don't know about us. There's people that are right down the road within 10 miles of us. If you went up to them, they would not know who Brian is. They would not know who you are. And they would be like, what? There's podcasts about this stuff? And for me, that's huge, because I was that guy. I mean, I've only been in this quote-unquote social media industry for like 14, 16 months at the most. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know anything about it. And y'all been doing it for what? You've been doing Instagram for years. Paul's been doing his podcast for years. And I had no clue. So for me, I want to give back what little bit of advice that I've learned from you all, from local people in my community that have helped me, mentors, pastors in my life that have helped me, and just anything that I learn, I want to give back, because it's stuff that I wish I would have known when I started out, and it's stuff that can help other people from making the same mistakes that I did. So that's my why.
Heck yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
I enjoy it. So it's a good time. I really love being here. Thanks to the Hardscape Academy, Caleb Auman, Brittany Auman there. Put a lot of work and time into that, I know. And
our gracious sponsors.
They and Launchpreneur Academy, along with Brian and Liz, are sponsoring the whole Hype House venture here. So every piece of content that you hear from this week has been brought to you by them. And it's an honor to be here. I want to thank y'all personally. We got the boss sitting over here in her seat by herself, and wish I had a headset. I wish you could have hopped on here. But thank you to both of you personally, from my heart, from Savannah's heart, letting us come and creating this stuff, because it changed my life. It changed the perspective of what my business is going to do. I mean, and it's one of those things that I have guys every now and then message me and say, hey, we loved the show today. It was great. And I know y'all get that a lot, but I'll tell you personally, it changed. Some of the content that you've put out, some of the content that Brian has put out, has changed, I think, my family generation. My family tree, what's behind me to come, is because I've heard what I've heard, and now it's enabling me to have a small voice in the community and some things that I've learned.
Carry it on down the line, man.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Thank you to y'all. Thank you to Entrepreneur Academy.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I tell you, that is one of the payoffs right there, right? Because there's no real money in podcasting so far.
Yeah,
but to hear, when you hear guys say that, we do hear that, once in a while. That really does make it worth it. You really, what? And that's one of the Jordan Peterson things is like what is a man's highest charge, right? And it's to take care of his family and to make society better in whatever little way you can. And right there, it's like, man, I'm fulfilling my highest charge. Yeah. And that's so cool to hear.
You might not have $1 million to go buy somebody a new house or a car or whatever, but just your words or your advice.
And sometimes that wouldn't help somebody anyway.
Yeah.
No.
Right? Because you've got to fix your own path.
Yeah.
Or you've got to clear your own path. And so, like, if you give the person the right machete or tool to clear their path, so that they're, again, the people that come behind them have a safer, more stable place to walk.
Yeah.
That's our job is, either leaders of the family or leaders of your organization, whatever the case is, right? Or just leaders in society.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, charge forward.
If sometimes too, if somebody gets something and they didn't have to work for it, they don't appreciate it as much.
Absolutely.
There's been times where Brittany and Caleb have with the hardscape, what I used to call it, the alphas, the Auman landscape.
You're funny.
Yeah, I forgot I made something up so that it was funny for them. But anyway, they had sponsored several people.
Yeah.
They got my course for free.
Yeah.
And those were the people that never followed through and never followed up. Mm-hmm. Whereas there's a guy that's like, dude, it took me 2 months to scrape up enough money to get your coaching.
Be the most diligent.
But they were extremely diligent, and they're the ones that call me back like 6 months later, and they're like, we did it. We hit the goal we were supposed to. Our budget actually worked, and we're charging the right amount. And it's like, see, that guy, just going back to it, if you do something for somebody, it may not be as rewarding. It really depends on the person. You could buy somebody a new truck, and they'd be like, yeah, that's great. I'm going to go get a Dodge now instead of this Chevy you gave me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really agree with you that, you could trailblaze for people, but you can't necessarily do all the work all the time.
Absolutely. They don't need to have things handed to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key principle in all aspects of life. So, John, where can we find you on social media, man?
On Facebook, there's John Pajak Financial Coaching. On Instagram, it's John Pajak. And you could also find the programs that I offer at thegreenindustrypodcast.com.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Caleb?
Just all our stuff, all of our stuff at Auman Landscape on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. We're there.
Branding, baby. Branding.
Trying to keep it simple.
Same thing everywhere.
Yep,
So,
you got it.
go check them out. Again, huge thank you, Hardscape Academy, Entrepreneur Academy, for putting this event on. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, would you give it a big thumbs up and leave us a little rating or review there in the description section, and it will really help the podcast algorithm shoot us up and get us out there to a bigger community so we can continue to grow it one relationship at a time. And we're signing off from the Hype House 2022 here in Tampa Bay, Florida. We'll catch up with everyone here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green Landscapes podcast. We know you have many other podcast options to choose from, and don't take it for granted that you chose to spend some time with us today. You can connect with Jeremiah Jennings at Growing Green Landscapes on Instagram or use the link in the show description. Don't forget to smash the follow button on the podcast and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We hope you crush it in your business and hope to catch you on our next episode.